Okay. For E3, this is going straight to my friend and subscriber Hellsink and my friend Matthew McGarry. Platinum Games, the people who are making Scalebound, made Mad World, Bayonetta, Bayonetta 2, Wonderful 101, and Metal Gear Rising Vengeance, have an unannounced project, and it'll be revealed on June 16th of E3. Now, counting all the conferences, it isn't going to be published by we can understand who's going to be publishing it. We know that Bethesda's not going to be the publisher because, and you're probably wondering, wait, why are we debating who's the publisher? Well, the publisher will decide what helps dictate what type of feel the game's going to go for and also where it's going to end up. Now, remember, the publisher plays a big key in what a game's usually going to be. Also, it tells us when, like, whose conference it's going to be at. For example, if it's going to be published by Bethesda, which it's not, or there's a good chance it's not going to be, it'll be at their conference. But I know it's not going to be there because Bethesda's conference is on June 14th, which they said the game will debut and be revealed where they officially want to reveal it, and meaning since Bethesda's conference is not on that day, the only way it would be revealed on that day would be through a leak. So it's very unlikely it's them. Microsoft's on June 15th, so it's probably not them, so it's probably not going to be an Xbox One exclusive. Though it's still, with the other conferences still in play, it still could be an Xbox multi-plat. Alright? And heck, if it was an Xbox exclusive, depending on their track record, especially with Tomb Raider, it could probably be a timed exclusive. But if it was on Microsoft, it could probably be just an exclusive. Heck, they wanted to make the original Bayonetta exclusive to the Xbox, but everyone was pushing back then for a PS3 release only for one reason. Since Xbox back then was just solidifying itself as a contender. The original Xbox, no one cared about and thought was going to pass like the Apple Pippin into failure and obscurity. And then no one really thought the 360 was going to last that long either when they tried a sequel. But because of the PS3 screw up, the Xbox was given the break that they needed to become a formidable contender in this. So they got a chance of at least being a multi-plat. Not likely still. Electronic Arts, same day, so it's not going to be published by them. Whew! We dodged a bullet there. EA getting their hands on a Platinum Games game. How many of you want to bet they'd milk that sucker till there was powder coming out of it? But moving on. Thank God it's not going to be at Ubisoft. We know how they like to screw up action adventures. Assassin's Creed Unity. I must have something in my throat because Assassin's Creed Unity was screwed up so bad. It was dog crap. Yeah. Well, maybe they'll fix those problems I just said with Unity. I mean, not Unity, Syndicate. I highly doubt they will, though. And thank God, and thankfully, luckily, Sony's also on the 15th too, so it's not going to be there. So which two conferences is it going to be? Well, there's actually 3 conferences on the 16th. On the 14th, there's only one. On the 15th, there's Microsoft, EA/Electronic Arts, whichever way you want to pronounce it, Ubisoft, Sony. So, 4. There's one conference on the 14th, 4 on the 15th, and on the 16th, 3. And you're probably thinking, who are the 3? Nintendo's. So they could possibly, especially after their history with Mad World, Wonderful 101, Infinite, what was it again? I forget that 3. Oh yeah, Infinite Space. Yeah, so with Mad World, Infinite Space, and Bayonetta 2 and Wonderful 101, they could possibly, it can happen. Heck, they have no problem putting games on the Wii U, but and we all know that the original Core game did not tax the Xbox One at all. And that the 360, especially with the 360 handling, that it was Activision's idea for there not to be a Nintendo version of that. So I think that Activision has it out to put Nintendo down. But moving on. Square Enix, they could possibly be publishing it. Heck, the third and final show of the day is the PC Gaming Show. Oh, and this one specifically goes out to my friend Helsing. The PC Gaming Show, which him and his girlfriend are probably going to be tuning into. I, on the other hand, am going to be tuning into all the conferences, but actually doing a video review. So the first day I'll try and get up a Bethesda review. Oh man, I hope that's gonna be good. I mean, seriously, they're a good studio, but right now all they have announced. Let me take a look. What does Bethesda have for an entire conference? They've got Doom 4, which looks promising, Fallout 4, and Battlecry. That could fit. You know what? I'm pretty sure they might be. They're okay there. As long as it doesn't go on too long and just drag, like how Activision did last year. I think we all remember Activision's E3 crap show last year, right? Right? Anyone remember? Anyone besides me remember how crappy their E3 was last year? Heck, here, give me a second. I'll pull it up. E3 2014. Okay, E3 2014. And okay, the conferences last year was Nintendo, Sony's, Ubisoft's, Oh! I thought there was an Activision one last year. Oh, right! That was Ubisoft that was that boring. I got so bored of theirs I confused them for Activision. That's pathetic. That's pathetic. When you have a conference that's so boring, I confuse you for someone else, especially Activision of all people, who brought us the joyous delight of Destiny. We all remember how much of a joyride Destiny was, right? Well, moving on. Besides that, the only other thing I wanted to point out is Microsoft's not looking that bad. They're finally going to show off the Gears of War, so at least they got some hype building up for that one. Something they haven't shown off anything footage for yet. They have Forza Motorsport 6, which is another thing they haven't shown off footage for. And Rise of the Tomb Raider they haven't shown off any gameplay for. So that's something. And Halo 5, we're finally going to see more of it. And get closer and as we get closer to the release date. So it's going to be big, but not really the oh my god big that we want. That we get from seeing gameplay trailers for the first time, or trailers for it for the first time. It's not going to be that big, but it's going to be big. Now, Square Enix, they're right now going into Deus Ex Mankind Divided. That's all they've got for us, folks. Please don't let this suck. Please don't let this suck. I'm sorry, but the only thing I can think of the only thing that they have to show right now is Bravely Second, Deus Ex Mankind, Final Fantasy 15, and Kingdom Hearts 3, which 2 of them are not going to be shown, or are very unlikely to be shown. I can almost guarantee you they wouldn't be shown. And if they are shown, at least for Kingdom Hearts, I'll be glad I was wrong. But I have barely any hopes for that game. I have barely any hopes for that game, for that conference being entertaining. Now the PC gaming show is actually going to be somewhat entertaining and somewhat boring, because it's going to be focused on all the games that we've already seen that are also on PC. That means pretty much any game that was multi-plat, not the console multi-plat, we're going to be seeing again. Games like Deus Ex, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, both Tom Clancy games. You get where I'm going. We're going to just see these. It's going to be interesting to see how they do it. But again, it's going to be somewhat boring. I'll give it points for already being for the creativity they're going to have to use to pull it off as an actual show. And if they outnumber with stuff we haven't seen already, then I'll be impressed. Now Electronic Arts, what do you guys have for us? You got Mirror's Edge 2, Need for Speed, Star Wars Battlefront, and Untitled Plants vs. Zombies. Well, I already know Battlefront is not looking too promising. And hold on, before you say anything, I have... Give me a second. Both Star Wars Battlefronts on the PlayStation 2. I own both of them. I have them right here, and I enjoy both. They're both great games, but it doesn't feel right that we're getting less content like Battlefront 3 is already announcing that we're going to have less than what was in this. Now, here's why this doesn't make sense. 1. This was PS2 hardware, and you're telling me you can't put in more than what this thing was on? The PS2 was considered a joke. A freaking joke in hardware. Where the Xbox spanks it hardware-wise. And no, I'm not saying hardware rules at all. I'm just saying that the hardware that dictates that there should be more when there's this much of a hardware difference. Friends, because the PlayStation 2 gets its butt spanked by the GameCube, and don't you go telling me, oh, but the GameCube wasn't able to get multi. The reason the GameCube didn't get a lot of the multi-plats that were for one reason: mini discs, not enough space, so they had to waste money on 2 discs per game, and very few companies like Namco with the Tales of series were willing to make that risk. So voila, that's why. Now the GameCube spanks it. The Xbox spanks both of them. And the Wii barely spanks the Xbox. Now, and the Wii spanks the... Well, no, not barely. It spanks the Xbox, but... And the 360 spanks even that. Even worse, like double time spanks that thing into submission. So what does that mean? We got the gap between power from the GameCube to the gap between power... So the power / space gap, and the power gap from the GameCube, the power gap from the Xbox, added to the power gap from the PlayStation 2 to the GameCube, the power gap from the GameCube to the Xbox, the power gap from the Xbox to the Wii, and the power gap from the Wii to the Xbox 360, and the power gap from the Xbox 360 to the PS3, and the power gap of the PS3 to the Xbox One, and then finally the power gap of the Xbox One to the PS4. And in all of that power gap, and you're telling me it ends up giving us less content than what this one gave us? Yeah, I'm still gonna buy it. I'm still interested in it, but I wouldn't hold my breath on it being better than 2. This is the one time I agree with people when the third game's probably not gonna be able to beat the second game. Other than that, it looks like a solid lineup so far. If they ink out some more, as long as they don't show off too much at Microsoft's conference, Bethesda's gonna be good. I've changed my mind on Bethesda. It's pretty much guaranteed to be good because no other conference came before it and showed off its stuff. So it'll be the first time we see it. So we'll be happy. We'll be like, okay, let's tune into Bethesda. Oh my God, this is awesome! First time I've seen this footage. Microsoft will then have a problem if they start showing off Bethesda games, and I mean, two of those games that are announced are on the Xbox One, so I'm pretty sure they're going to show them. So they'll be the ones stuck with the problem there. EA might get some problems if Microsoft shows off EA games and overly exposes the EA games, because and they stated it will be an hour, so they better pray to God that Microsoft doesn't overshow their games, like show maybe 2, 3 games and then just show what's exclusive to Microsoft. They better hope that, or that Microsoft has more. Like they better just hope that Microsoft's whole show is not EA games, or a good portion of the show is not EA games. Why? Or a good portion of the EA games are shown off at Microsoft's show. Why? Because then that hour that Electronic Arts is having with us it's just going to be repetitive. It's like, alright, I already saw this at Xbox conference. If say EA is only going to show off, and I'm just saying for a hypothetical, show off Mirror's Edge, Need for Speed, Star Wars Battlefront, and the Plants vs. Zombie game. If they show off at Microsoft's event, and the Mirror's Edge, Need for Speed, and the Star Wars Battlefront, and then Plants vs. Zombies, they showed off at their event, and that's the... And I'm just saying hypothetically to represent the percentage of games that are getting shown at Microsoft and then re-shown, we're going to be bored off our butts. Why? Because three-fourths of the stuff that they're showing, they've already shown at Microsoft. So I have doubts about them. Even more so, doubts about Ubisoft. They barely had anything to show at their conferences. Theirs was boring as shit last year, and they're going... Okay, I'll give them one thing. Unlike last year, where pretty much they went after... They're still in the position they were in last year. Here, I can't believe it. It looks like they're getting screwed over again. And then Sony. Please don't suck. No more TV, Sony. No more. Please. We're begging you. You pulled a Microsoft's E3. No. What they did last year was like was the equivalent to what Microsoft basically did at their Xbox One reveal event. Ugh, an hour and 30 minutes, and 30 minutes of that was bull crap. Ugh. But and the only game, and you can't tell me that it's looking good when they themselves have announced that they don't plan on, that they don't have too much first party or exclusive content to show off. Heck, the only thing they have that's going to be shown off, that's going to be PlayStation exclusive is Atlus's Persona 5, Street Fighter 5, and that's it. They might have Gran Turismo 7, but I highly freaking doubt that since Uncharted was slated for this year, and it was delayed. Uncharted 4 slated for this year. Oops, delayed. Whereas Gran Turismo was always slated like this. They stated when they told us the release date, it could come out this year or it could come out next year. So right off of that, instead of them saying, here's Gran Turismo's release date, it's 2015, like how they did with Uncharted 4, you basically did this. They basically did this. The Gran Turismo's release date is 2015/2016. So I highly freaking doubt it. They basically even downplayed the hype for surprises. Now that's sad. So I'm guessing those is going to be complete shit. Microsoft is either it's just going to be or entertain, or it's going to be pretty good. Nintendo's is going to be good or great. Hey, because look at what we already know what they did last year, and I'm going to tell you what they had last year. Last year what they had announced before they went into E3 was Bayonetta 2, Hyrule Warriors, Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, Xenoblade Chronicles X, and Yoshi's Woolly World. 1, 2, 3, 4. Heck, you can maybe count 5 if you count Legend of Zelda. Oh, but okay. So let's see. How many games did they end up showing off? Not counting games that got dual versions. They showed off 1, 2, 3, instead of showing off the 4 that were previously announced and told we were told those 5/4 games were already being made, and we're told they were going to be shown at E3. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 games. So from 4/5 games, they ended up having 19 games shown. Now what do they have this time around? Devil's Third announced, Mario Maker, Star Fox, Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem, and Xenoblade Chronicles X. Already a solid lineup. But even more so, already a solid lineup, but even more so, that's 5. They're easily gonna show off 19 goodies and have it bunch of surprises. If not, they'll be disappointing. It'll just be an average to okay show. If it doesn't turn out at least as good as the 2013 Direct. Now, the Square Enix one, I think that one's going to be the worst of all. Because any game they have to show off is either going to be shown off in Nintendo's, like Bravely Second, Sony, with Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy 15, and Final Fantasy 15, and maybe even Deus Ex, and Microsoft with Deus Ex. So they're going to be fucked up the ass, because they got to go through all 3 they have all 3 conferences going before them. Now, oh my god, they're stupid. EA can probably just sit back and, I'm staying calm. That's what EA can probably do. Ubisoft's probably going, what are we gonna do? And Square Enix, you better be going, yeah, we're fucked. Let's sell our stock on the stock market ASAP. Because, not literally sell your stock, I'm just saying, you're fucked at E3. Yours is gonna be the worst. Or, heck, the PC is going to beat you just by the fact that we're going to be interested in watching their format. We already know how you're going to do a format, because you're going to do one similar to EA or Ubisoft. We see with those 2 shows, and Konami's, which they were smart enough to not do one for themselves this year and save themselves the embarrassment. We saw, all with those 2/3, how you do I'm just a third-party developer conference. So we're not going to be as interested for that factor. The PC game show, on the other hand, we're going to be interested for that, and remember it for, that was the very first time they did a PC show. You, on the other hand, will fall into a history of obscurity. Mark my words. But other than that, I'm guessing it looks like really it's going to be a battle between Xbox and Microsoft and Nintendo this year. Heck, EA, yeah, but it's going to be a battle between Bethesda, EA, Microsoft, and Nintendo for the best E3 conference. conference. PC's not looking too good because it's the last game show, but it's already got Square Enix beat by the we're gonna remember them and think of them and be interested only for the format. And then see what they do. Square Enix, not so much. And Ubisoft, they're a bigger company and have plenty more to show than them, and they only really have to worry about Microsoft's conference fucking them over by showing a majority of Ubisoft's games that they were planning on showing at their event at Microsoft's event. So really, they only have to worry about overlapping with Microsoft. Sony really has to worry about overlapping with EA, Ubisoft, and Bethesda. And the fact that they've announced that their exclusives are not going to be numerous. So they're not going to be able to cover up for the third parties. They're really going to have third parties hammering it in. So third parties hammering, so they're going to be relying on third party stuff, which Ubisoft and EA, the two big third parties, are already going to have their conferences showing off the stuff. Heck, Microsoft might even show off the other stuff from the other companies. And you barely have anything to show from your own yeah, you're not even in the race, Sony. God, speed is what Razorfist would say at this moment. But I don't want to rip him off.